Spirit and Soul, where Atlanta's service industry unpacks raw and provocative truths, share hilarious commentary about their unique industry experiences. Welcome to Spirit and Soul Podcast, a space where we share lessons, antidotes, recipes, and the personalities of those in the service industry. We all love a great cocktail, but the industry is so much more than that. We have soul too, and that's why you love us so much. I am your host, Courtney, and today's guest is Chef Mark Phillips. Chef Mark is one of the best chefs that I know. He offers his services through his company, Southern Temptations. They do full service catering, personal chef experiences, meal prep, and brand activations. In 2022, he released his cookbook, At Home with Chef Mark Phillips Recipes, correct? 2022? Yes. Check this out. And recently, he's launched a line of extra virgin olive oils. So we're going to get into that as well.
Yes.
He's been in the industry now for, you're going to have to give me that.
I think total 17 years now.
Oh my gosh.
I think
17 years, and he never ceases to remain relevant and innovative. He is truly a master of his craft, and I'm extremely impressed to watch him over the years. It's been...
Yeah, we've been on it just for a while. I want to say that Bottle Bar was 2011. Yeah, 11 to 12. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a while. How are you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling good. Relaxed. Refreshed.
All right. I said morning.
Let's say it again.
Yeah, we're drinking cocktails in the morning. Okay. So what's the most exciting thing you have happening this week? It's June.
This week, I got training. I'm on a consulting contract. So I got two clients. My main client, Sweet Lounge, they're in a position of transitioning chef, so I'm the interim time to help them clean up, polish some things, get recipes, get structure in there, and get their staff.
Okay.
So that is all week. In addition to my previous client, the Breakfast Bar, they having some changeover of staff, and they want me to come in. So every day I'm working with one of my clients until then. Yeah.
And consulting.
Correct.
Nice.
Come in, set it up. Well, I did their initial menu at the Breakfast Bar, set it up. The owner brought me the idea and I brought it to life.
Okay.
Recipes, plate presentation, photography, all of the stuff.
Okay.
Got the staff in, hired, trained, left.
Okay.
So
I like that.
I love it.
How long have you been doing that?
Since 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, it was one of those avenues that I didn't think initially that I was going to go into, but it was a good way to know my time in and know my time out.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it spills over if it needed be, but it's good. I get to dabble in my passion on the restaurant side, but I know when I'm getting the hell out of it.
Yeah. Run for your life.
Yes, because it can eat your life, and
yeah,
I vow to no longer do that full time for anyone else.
I love that.
Yeah.
So how we met.
Yes.
So me and Chef Mark met at a place that no longer exists anymore, called Buckhead Bottle Bar. It was an era where hookah, bottle service, and DJs, valet service. It was an era when all that kind of, I won't say it started, but it's when you start hearing those kind of vibes be, I don't know, talked about in songs.
Yeah, and it was early on in the process before it became what Atlanta is known for now.
Yes,
it was at the very beginning stages.
The beginning of that.
Food quality was good because we did small plates. It was more not your traditional everything soul food type place.
Right.
We had nice tapas and everything.
Trendy little boutique style, nice patio vibes. I think this was before the green wall. Did we have it?
No, the green wall was not a thing.
Green wall was not a thing.
Everything was still painted originally.
Right. But Chef Mark's food was phenomenal. And I was just telling him earlier, like, it's kind of hard when you are raised in the industry and you work with chefs like Chef Mark and you are constantly eating that kind of food. Yeah. And then you go out and you go to restaurants and you're like constantly dissatisfied because you're like, I've had good food before. I know what it tastes like.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not it. So it's like a blessing and a curse.
It is.
But I am grateful for it.
Yeah.
You definitely help, introduce my palate to different things in that period.
Yeah, and I say food, everybody has a different relationship with food.
Yeah.
Most people eat it just because they have to out of necessity, but if you enjoy it, it's a different relationship.
Yeah. And I'm definitely enjoying everything you're putting out. So Chef Mark, this is my first ever chef on the show. If you are an avid listener or viewer, you know we cover cocktails, spirits, and the industry around them. But let's be clear, who's out here drinking on an empty stomach? Food and beverage go hand in hand and has since the dawn of time. What I find particularly interesting is the era of cocktail making we're in now, which is this era of culinary cocktails. There's an intimate relationship between cooking and cocktailing. A large portion of prepping cocktails involve us workshopping ingredients in the kitchen. Our recipes require manipulation of heat, use of kitchen tools and equipment. We're experimenting with different types of produce and raw ingredients. It's what makes crafting cocktails fun for me. I can honestly say that cocktailing, making cocktails has improved my cooking skills.
It does.
And I'm the furthest away from a chef, but I definitely have more confidence in the kitchen because this is what I do full time as a mixologist. So, chef,
Yes.
cocktails may not be your specialty, but it's definitely tastefully incorporated in your content.
Yeah.
Your book, on your social media.
Yep.
Which I think is brilliant. What are your thoughts about this era of cocktail making, and how does it impact what you do as a chef, the service you provide, and whatnot?
I really like fresh ingredients. So 9 times out of 10, when I'm having a cocktail, even at home, fresh lime juice, fresh orange juice, sometimes a cucumber and mint. I just like the freshness of it because I'm more spirit forward type person. But if I want some flavor in there, I want it to be fresh. Like, I don't do roses if I'm doing like a gimlet. I can't stand the
Roses.
Yeah, roses, lime juice. Yeah, so I just give me the fresh with agave, that one.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good trend. It brings people in, and it's a good balance where you can complement it with a food item.
Yeah.
So if you got, let's say, rosemary in a cocktail, or like peaches in the one we have now, this would be good with a dessert. Or like if I did a burrata with peaches on it, crostini, some basil, like it just wraps it all together.
It's giving me we're doing a mini right now as we speak.
Yes.
So when you do consulting, so in those cases, do you find that you're sharing the kitchen with the mixologist, doing any of that prep work at these restaurants?
Yes.
Okay.
Especially like the Terrace at Sweet, which I did their brunch menu. So like I did a lavender butter to go with the cornbread. So we have a cocktail that they use that same lavender in. Within restaurants, we do like to do cross utilization of the item so you keep your food costs low.
Okay.
But it also complements the food dish. So yeah, some dishes we collaborated in, but then the mixologist did their own.
Okay.
But I gave good input with what it would pair well with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you find that you're like consulting the bartenders sometimes in these scenarios? No,
Not necessarily. They do their own thing. And
Okay.
if I need to match something to go according to, or give them something that I use it in,
Okay.
that's it. But usually I let them be
Okay.
their own creative person.
Gotcha. Cool. Let's talk about the beginning stages of your career and some of your influences. When you were younger, what encouraged you to take this path as a chef? And how are the influences reflected in your work today?
It started when I was at home because my family always, it was something like the unity of family around food. My aunt's in the kitchen, my mom cooking. That's where it started. From there, I did home ec in middle school. I don't think they have that now.
They do.
They still do?
My niece, that was like a class she took. She's a singer. She just graduated.
Okay.
And they did like a full course meal. They invited the parents to come, and it was like white glove service. Like they were serving them different courses of dinner. Yeah, it's
that's cool. You can see it in advanced because it was in the beginning of that time. We was making monkey bread.
Really?
And that was biscuits with not powdered sugar, regular sugar and cinnamon. So that was the start. And then I went to obviously in high school. We had a career center where we can go off campus to a class could be working in the field we want to move into.
Okay.
So that's where I took it for one level from there. And then obviously I went to college. I doubled up on my major to got a culinary arts degree and food service management. So I got 2 degrees at one time. Instead of trying to do 6 years, I did it in 4.
Nice.
And then start working my way up the ranks, line cook, prep cook, executive chef. head chef, just all the different titles until now executive chef in my own business. So that's where it started, and the love of it came from childhood, because originally I wanted to be an artist. I still am in a different format, but you hear starving artist and it doesn't sound as persuasive. Even though I have had my own versions of that as an entrepreneur.
Oh, I completely agree. And I never knew what that meant until I was in it, and I was like, oh, this is what they mean. I'm hungry so much for my craft and my passion that I'm willing to go hungry.
Yeah.
Trying to achieve it.
Yep, 2 and 3 jobs, trying to supplement to build up. Yeah, it's all the highs and lows that comes with the joys that you see now and still going.
Yep.
It's a lot of management of time and money.
It is.
Yes.
It is. It's like, it's forcing me to be a better adult. I will definitely say that. I'm a much better adult in my entrepreneurial career than I am in reality, and so I try to implement what I'm doing. I'm like, if you can do this for your career, why can't you do this for yourself?
Yeah.
Hello.
Discipline. It takes sacrifice too.
Yeah. Nice. So what do you consider your style of cooking? What's your unique approach and what makes it different than others? What sets you apart?
Well, I like to call my style of cooking American fusion.
Okay.
Obviously, been raised in the South. Soul food is like cooking out the back of my hand, but I'm not known for that. I can do it, no problem, tastes great. But the fusion comes in from my travels from around the world and living in Miami, Arizona, California. I like to pull from different cultures, especially Caribbean, Mediterranean, Persian, some African. That's something that I started with when I was here. But it's pulling it and blending it too. It's something fascinating, taking a traditional dish and marrying it with something else. Like I do, for example, Jamaican curry and Thai curry, blending the two together and making its own unique flavor.
Oh.
So it's like taking it and running with it and allowing people to eat with their mind and their palate.
It's interesting. Do you do pop-ups and stuff?
I haven't done any in a while. I guess the last one I did do was a Mother's Day event in Pensacola, which I did this past one, but that was more a planned out one where I did a 4-course dinner or a 4-course brunch, and I explained it on the stage and showed the mothers how I did each course. Something more like that.
So basically, if you want your food, you need to hire him. Period. Just hire him for the service, for him to come to you. That's how I feel.
It is.
When people ask me, when's it? Just book me. I mean, I'm available.
Yeah.
Just let me know when you want me to show up with my team.
I will mark it on the calendar.
Simple as that. So what do you feel like? Well, I've read that you really love hors d'oeuvres. And that is your specialty, but I wanted to confirm, is that your specialty? It
is.
Okay.
That leans into the creative side in the sense of taking these small bite-sized pieces and layering with different flavors. It's so fun building. It's tedious, but it lends itself to my artistic side. For one of I did a pop-up dinner years ago called Course the Experience, where I coursed out different food. And one of them I took shredded phyllo dough and made it into an egg basket.
I'm sorry, what is phyllo dough?
Phyllo dough is it's like a puff pastry. It's very thin, layered between butter, flour, and it's all paper thin.
Okay.
And it's done over and over again, but they shred it into strings.
Okay.
So what I did is I took it and put it in a format of a basket, and I boiled an egg and cracked it and let it marinate in beet juice so to give a dinosaur egg effect. Cut it off the top of it, put the cap of it on the side, and filled it with pimento cheese, deviled egg filled, and then a fried jalapeno on top.
That sounds fun.
So it was pretty, but you ate because you can eat everything on the plate. So it was it was fun for me to be the creative, but it was just to see that. And it's this is really an egg that was on a basket that the birds would make a nest out of, and you can eat the entire thing.
So you enjoy it. That's when it's I love when, and I'm sure not every event allows you to do that. But when you work those events or you have those clients that give you that freedom to kind of create what you want, is that the path you tend to go in when it comes to the hors d'oeuvres,
sometimes
layering and.
Yeah, it depends on the client and because although I love to do it and can do it several times over, if I'm training the staff, I also got to keep in mind of their level of execution. So I don't want to be too extraneous, because if that's not their forte and they're just beginning or cook their way up the ranks, I gauge based off the environment, the menu, what they're going for, and then see where I can stretch it.
Okay.
Where I can be some creative, but also keep in mind of their demographic.
Yeah.
The type of clientele.
Right.
So you have to
There's a
factor
lot
all
to
those things
consider.
in there. So it's
Gotcha.
great when I can be that stretched in that capacity.
I love hors d'oeuvres as well, aka apps.
Yeah.
I was just telling someone that when I go to a restaurant
Yeah.
and I look at the menu and all I want to order is appetizers, that's how I think, oh, this is a good restaurant.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, the entrees are good, but if I want to order like 5 appetizers, that's a sign this is a place for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, let's talk about the ethos behind your brand and how that translates personally. So like, what is that? Like, what's your guarantee as far as just like offering a service where, there's a lot of different chefs here in Atlanta
Yeah.
specifically. But like, what's that backbone, something that you stay true to throughout your work and throughout your projects?
Yeah.
What is that?
Quality over quantity. I mean, obviously, if it's a wedding, then obviously quantity is needed, but quality in the sense of what I bring to the table, the passion behind it, not just trying to execute for a check. Just making sure I'm paying attention to detail. If it's the client or customer, giving them what they want, introducing them something different, or stretching it to past something they wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah.
That way it's fun for me, but it also gives them something that they want at the same time. It's always free range when they allow me to just go for it. But that's usually quality over quantity is probably the stickler that I do, and good customer service. Having that beginning stages in corporate world allowed me to apply that to my business.
Yes.
So that language that I was able to learn, I see how it has helped me here, sitting down with like website or social media. Because for a period I was doing search engine optimization for marketing for a cruise line in college.
Okay.
And you never realize how something then can help you now. It's given me a
Always.
leverage in a way that I didn't think I would use, and I've been able to use it.
Yeah, that's great that you can realize that, because I think so many people underestimate what they're doing currently.
Correct.
And how that won't benefit them, but it's like at all costs.
Yeah.
For me, it's like exhaust everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
Everything's a learning process.
Correct.
Could it be the way you're communicating with someone? Could it be just anything? The environment you work in, the type of people you're having to interact with, like it's all useful.
Yeah, it's all connected. Even I think about like some psychology classes.
Yeah.
That has helped with people management.
Yes.
And I don't like to micromanage people, especially adults, because we should be able to do what you're supposed to do. But in dealing with their emotions, because I tell us the cooking part is easy. With dealing with the restaurant, managing people can be something completely different, and you just got to know how to deal with them and their temperament.
Would you say your like your ethos, which we just discussed, is like, do you feel like that has a large part to do with your longevity? You've been doing this for 17 years, and for as long as I've known you, when I met you in, what is that,
12.
12?
Yeah.
Not too long after Bottle Bar, correct me if I'm wrong, or even while, were you already a private chef and doing this, like your full service catering then? And like, when did that actually start? Because I've always just known you to be Chef Mark, this individual catering, full service.
Yeah.
Like that's what I've known outside of Buckhead Bottle Bar, of course. But yeah.
It started like right at the end of Bottle Bar, the era that I left.
Okay.
Because that was during that time working at Bottle Bar. I don't know if you ever knew. I was the chef, but when the managers wasn't there, like Mylene and all, I had to be everything.
I know. Oh, I know.
Everything.
I know you did.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my gosh.
with that being said, one of those days I end up having a panic attack.
Oh, really?
And I don't think the staff knew because I had to go to the hospital.
No.
Yeah. So I think that day, when I was sitting, they had to put me in a wheelchair because I physically couldn't move, but I was aware of everything.
Yes.
That day I made a decision that I'll never work for anyone else again, at least not in that capacity.
Yeah.
So from there,
That's so crazy.
I did the 2 weeks notice. I did the right of exiting, and then I did catering for a while, maybe about 6 months. And then my best friend, who's no longer with us, he reached out to me for a personal chef opportunity. And it was for a baseball player, Matt Kemp at the time.
Okay.
And so I'd never done it before, never cooked for just one person, but I flew to Arizona. The requirement was gluten-free. At the time, it was not a popular thing, so I took the job and said I knew how to do it. It's the first time I said this on camera.
Learn as you go. I do
Yeah.
it all the time.
So I
Can
took
you?
the job.
Yes,
Yep.
I can figure it out immediately.
I used to go to the Barnes and Nobles because I had after doing the interview or the making sure we matched in Arizona. Like 2 weeks later, I was moving to California, and this is where I was living now. So every day I would go to Barnes and Nobles and read. I think there was about there was probably like 10 books at the time, maybe, that you could find on gluten-free and what it entails.
What?
So I would go cook, leave the house, read, try to educate myself, and then slowly I became my own natural of how to do it without needing a guide. But it was a good way of starting that way, and I did that for 3 years, and then coming back to Atlanta, that's really when I did the personal chef, the catering, and I've just been doing it ever since then.
Yeah.
And that's probably been the most beneficial relationship I have with food and catering that private chef has led me to as well.
Okay.
And it's traveled me. I've had people hire me to go to different states and out of the country to cook.
That's amazing.
So it's been a blessing, and it's worked for me.
What do you enjoy most about those opportunities?
The exposure's always one thing, because I'm always growing, so more a different audience, and it allows me to be, free with the food and the menu, because 9 times out of 10 they just want the experience. I just need to know the limitations of what they can and cannot have, and then I'm running with it, and just to watch people, because cooking, as you know, with drinks, you get such a tangible, immediate response of something that you've created versus like an accountant or something like that. So it makes it a bit more exciting, and to watch people enjoy something just as much as you like creating it. You can't, the feeling. It's like amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I did not know that I read somewhere that you're gluten-free. Are you gluten-free?
I found out it's been 2 years now that I have a gluten sensitivity. So it's funny how life set me up back in 13 and 14 to educate myself about it for a client, and now I can apply it with myself with ease.
Tell me about how, like, the transition, where we are with people and their food sensitivities. It's like they're more vocal about it. Some people just kind of eat and just, oh yeah, I have this response, but I just keep eating. But people will tell you no dairy, no pork, no butter. Like, do you feel like that? How does that look like for you? Like, what does that look like for you? I'm sure you're asking your clients, like, what are the food sensitivities? But like, when we've come from an era where that wasn't as important, and now it's like a thing, do you have a special menu? Like, what does that look like?
As far as like the hors d'oeuvres, the catering menu, I highlight some things on there that is gluten-free, so therefore it'll just eliminate some of the questions. But if they want me to customize something, it's easy for me to do. It's just a matter of what you can and cannot have, and just because we have a lot of products out now that I can manipulate without doing everything from scratch, that makes it a whole lot easier. But I customize it because I had a vegan client, vegetarian client, paleo. One had high blood pressure, another one had gout, another one has had...
So you can do it all.
Yeah, it's just learning, educating on what it is, what you can and cannot have, and making modifications. I think there's one more that I was doing. Celiac is a more intensified version of gluten-free allergy. Those are the main ones, but any new one, just tell me what the parameters are, and manipulating food is pretty easy.
Cool. Let's talk about art and food. Cooking is a form of art, a creative expression. So let's talk about the connection between the service you provide and the artistic approach you take with your dishes. What does that look like for you? I know you're big on content creation. You've come out with your cookbook and your storytelling within that. So I know that, and you've talked about how you play with your hors d'oeuvres and layering them and doing intricate things with it, and that's kind of how you lean more into your artistic side. But yeah, what does that look like for you just on a regular? Is that incorporated beyond these things, or are those things kind of where you integrate your artistic approach?
Mostly in culinary. I used to paint a lot. Just with acrylic was my medium, but I do sometimes mixed medium. Because that's a good escape for me. Because if you go in my home now, you'll see all my artwork around, but people assume that I bought it, but it's just a painting. It's a passion of mine.
But would you sell, or?
I've sold before. I haven't sold anything now because I got art in storage. Some stuff I'll give away. Some stuff I'll just keep, because with the abstract mind of it. I don't do realism in far as painting. Everything's abstract. So
Okay.
9 times out of 10, an idea will come from me in sleep, and then I have to wake it up and write it down.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's just funny how connected with spirit and soul,
Yeah.
how it flows all together.
Yes.
So that's another way I try to be creative.
The fluidity is important,
Mm-hmm.
because I was going to ask you, how do you balance the duality of being a professional chef and being an artist? Sometimes I have moments when I'm on autopilot.
Yes,
And
very
I'm just
much.
working, and I've created a formula and it works. So especially in busier seasons, it helps me to stay focused and not get overwhelmed,
Mm-hmm.
to just be like robotic. But then I have these moments when I'm like, the artist in me forces me to slow down,
Yes.
give myself freedom to work outside of the confinement and the rules,
Mm-hmm.
and allow space to experiment and
Yeah.
play. And then it also, part of that, I become more conscious of my spirit and my energy and my environment as I'm preparing for an event or cocktails, and when I'm in the lab. And I realize, well, I really do believe that my mindset and my energy while I'm in the lab translates into what I'm producing.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I
What are
agree.
your thoughts?
So if I know, like schedule wise, if I got caterings back to back or something, or events, I try to set aside time for just me. So I like to go to the park. I'll sit, read music, do nothing. So if I know I'm going into a hectic schedule, I know it's important for me to carve out that time for me, because I can go autopilot as well. And it'll be one thing after the next. I come from 2 parents who work 2 jobs, so I'm used to the hustle and grind of it all. So sometimes trying to break that is making sure I slow down for me, or do something, for myself.
Yeah.
Or I'll go out and eat, because I don't cook for myself much at home. I think
Okay.
it's just condiments. There's a bottle of champagne.
Condiments?
And that's in my refrigerator right now, and some arugula. Other than that, there's nothing in my refrigerator right now.
Really?
I tend to go to the grocery store and cook anything I want. I'll go and shop the day of to get it.
Okay.
Versus just, most people
Have it
pile up the
prepped,
freezer,
yeah.
deep freezer. That's usually for catering stuff, but at home, I usually don't. So I have
Okay.
to be conscious of keeping something in the house
Yeah.
that I want to eat. Otherwise,
When you say you just go out to eat, do you have, like, what places are your
I
list
can be
of your
very
top-
basic.
Okay.
Like,
It's okay. It's kind of like that with experts in their field. It's like, oh, you would think, oh, they go to these crazy cool places. No, actually, give me something like a peanut butter and jelly. I don't know. So what is that for you?
For mine would be like a restaurant that I go to. It's like fresh to order. A salad and soup.
Fresh order.
And I am happy,
Mm-hmm.
because I love a good sandwich. I love a good soup, and I'm content. Salads, I blame that on my mother. My friend, we were just talking about, I eat salads for breakfast, or real food for breakfast. I'm not a
Really?
breakfast person. I love to cook it, but I want real food in the morning if I
Okay.
am eating. So I'm basic. But of course, like I said, I like going to restaurants, especially with chefs who are creative. That makes me excited. Of course, if I know I'm going to the hole in the wall, not to downplay like a Jamaican restaurant, I'm getting good quality home cooked food. So it just really depends on the mood.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What are you experimenting with lately? Like something that you haven't mastered, or that you're like, or a dish that you're like playing around with, and or even just an ingredient that you're trying to like manipulate into some things. Like, do you have anything you've been experimenting with lately?
Not really, to be honest. Just
olive
because of
oil.
where good segue. Yes, the olive oils, Southern pressed olive oils, which is an olive oil line that I created with my business partner, Kia. We saw a niche that was there. It's
Okay.
starting to be trendy now, but the particular flavors that we decided to go with. So this has been a year and 5 months
Okay.
of learning about it, because I
Okay.
was telling you earlier about botulism, where when we do infused flavors, we can't do fresh ingredients. Everything has to be dried and
okay.
dehydrated, because any moisture can create a chemical imbalance in there, and it's a whole science project.
Okay.
That's happening naturally, that would happen,
Wow.
but you can't consume it. Because we did one of the flavors that we had to X out was ginger and lemongrass.
Okay.
Because we couldn't find a dried ginger.
Okay.
So we did it. We put it in the jar. It sat for about 3 months, and we just noticed some bubbles was happening, and then next, we got a little layer of film on top. It was like, what's going on? But we did some
Couldn't do
homework.
it.
Couldn't do it because it needed to be dried. I guess it's something with
man.
the oil and the moisture that's inside the ginger.
Yeah.
Ginger. So there's a whole science behind it that we
Okay.
had to learn.
Molecular
Yeah.
things going on.
Yeah. So that's why we settled on the flavors that we have now.
Nice. Which are?
So the first 3 flavors we're going to release is orange pepper.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. Lemon pepper.
Okay.
Cajun and garlic basil.
Okay.
We're also working on jerk and shallots and saffron.
Okay. Ooh.
When I tell you it's good, you don't need much. The flavor's there. It's amazing.
So are you going to give like, this might be later on, but are you going to give like, you know, recipes that go well or dishes that would pair well with this?
Yeah.
Like on your blog or?
Yeah. So I'll have to do similar to like you see in my cooking videos that I do on
Your
Instagram.
cooking videos are so, I'm sorry, but you just look so happy and so warming and welcoming. And it makes me stop. I'm just like, what are you cooking today?
Yeah, so I'll be incorporating enough videos for that social media to show people how to use it, because when we did the soft launch and tasting, we had people try it on ice cream, olive oil and ice cream. It's not a sector that they would think of, but once you taste the flavors together,
it allows you to like really taste it for
it was good.
Nice.
It is good, rather.
Since we're talking about your product, I kind of want to transition about, you know, you being originally a service-based business, and now you've extended that to a product-based business, so you're doing both. I'm just curious to know, you know, how those two business styles impact each other for you. So the scalability, the risk, the opportunities this has presented.
Well, they go hand in hand together, obviously, because I cook.
Yeah.
But we wanted to offer a product that I can teach people how to use in a different, because this extra virgin olive oil is more of a, it's more delicate. It's not something you're trying to fry a piece of fish in or something long. We want you to finish it, salads, dressing, light sauteing.
Okay.
So this gives you like an everyday use, but on a smaller scale.
Got it.
So with learning about the product, selling it, it's definitely marketing. And then I think anybody who's an entrepreneur, yes, you have those people around you that are your family and friends, but don't look at them to be your complete support system.
Yeah.
So outside marketing to demographics that we don't have access to has been big and important. So therefore, I don't have to be the face of everything.
Yeah.
Because that could be quite exhausting within itself, but also let the product speak for itself, because it's a really good product. We spent a lot of time and money.
Yeah, that's the difference too with this, with offering a service. It doesn't really require a lot of upfront costs.
Correct.
Whereas this, you definitely had to spend some money to make some money with this thing.
So we're looking forward, because now that our manufacturer has got our recipe right, because that's been the biggest thing. We did these in-house ourselves by hand.
Okay.
So we had to outsource, you know, to expand and plan for the future.
Right.
So we had them get the recipe right, got the balance there. So therefore, when they mass produce it, we got something that's already done. So we're planning for the future.
Yes.
But it's taken a while of sending samples back and forth. No, this has got too much pepper. Increase the lemon and doing all of that. So therefore, when it takes over itself, it's already working for itself. So we should expect to have the official lease release July the 25th is what we're going for.
Coming up.
And you can buy it anywhere in the world. Like
anywhere in the world?
Meaning we'll ship it to anywhere.
Oh, I'm like,
everybody have access.
What? No, but you did mention a couple places that you'll be able to buy it.
Yes.
Where would that be?
So we're going to do pop-up events throughout the fall.
Okay.
But you will have it online. Everything will be shipped.
Okay.
Once we get that presence there, like any other business, they want to see your reports and trajectory on how you've sold before you can present it to a store. So obviously we would love to be in Whole Foods, Farmers Market. I mean, we can be in Publix for all we care, just long as it's there.
Okay.
So we got to build up that to see why presenting something when we do pitching.
Got it. Yeah. Would it be, this is just, I'm just thinking, would this be something you would like to offer to different restaurants too, to use in their
we would
at some point?
As a more of like the finishing. So this would be good for a good chef to just want to put this flavor on there. So yes, we would love to, because actually I know someone who wants to do that, but we get the scale right so that we can do it and they can showcase it, because the flavors is there. You don't need much because it jumps at you, but we don't want to be smothered in salt, seasoning and everything, because then it just loses its purpose. Correct.
Totally get it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who's your target audience with your new olive oil line?
If I had to choose the age range, it's anywhere from the 27 to 45 age range from the demographic. Singles and families who cook. Women mostly, but you know, the men who love to cook as well, because it's been, I guess, a stigma, so most women cook at home, but giving the men the tools to do it as well, and because you can still do it as well. But that's usually our target audience is going there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the cookbook that was released in 2022, may I see it so that the camera can see this thing? What was the theme of the compilation of these recipes here? Yes.
So the theme of it, actually, I wrote this cookbook during COVID.
Okay.
When we all had more time on our hands than we wanted. So, but it was the perfect opportunity for me to have the time to sit down and do it. But I wanted to take all the different recipes and things that I love to cook and what people ask me for, or, oh, I love your sweet potato pie, or I love your cheesecake.
There's a lot of things that I love.
Yeah, so it's just, I wanted to give it and make it easier, but I also wanted to teach people. So I give terminology, what the knife is for, what utensils you have at home. There's some wine education in there, of like, you know, people just drink wine just to be, but I want to know where it comes from, what notes are in there. So not only teach them recipes, but also why am I doing it that way? Use this knife for that. If you have a cutting board, this is why you use it this way. What is a peeler for? What is a wine opener? What is a jigger? You know, just those things if you want to stretch it, but not make it so as intimidating.
Yeah.
So simplify it, but approachable. Yeah, exactly.
When you created this book, you said, I'm interested to know, like, what was the time between you finishing this book and then you starting the olive oil line? Like, was that, were you encouraged or motivated to start that after this? Like, what you're related at all?
Actually, my business partner, she came with me because I used to shoot a lot of the content when creating this book in her home. And I had bought over some lavender olive oil. She had never had it, but you can get it in a grocery store these days. She's like, we should do an olive oil line. I was like, you know what, why not? Because everyone can do a seasoning. That's kind of the easy trend that most chefs can go into. But there's not much of a market I've seen for this one. When she said it, I was like, you know what, you're right. And we need to do flavors that are not there. And you know, we like lemon pepper. So that's a unique flavor that I want to put out there, because you can find lemon olive oil, but not lemon pepper. You can find like jalapeno or pepper olive oil, but not Cajun olive oil. So we wanted to tap into a niche. So therefore it's just not another, hey, I'm Chef Mark, this is my olive oil. Taste the flavor and it's different. And then I give tips on what it pairs with.
Okay. Nice. Nice. Do you think that releasing this product, your book, prepared you for that, or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially in the process of learning, like, when we're talking about like Fiverr, or using a source.com for, you know, reducing expenses. So what I learned with trying to build that together, it has helped with that one, with the olive oil, because it taught me some things. So everything is not 100% a learning experience from the ground up, but I can apply it from the book to what can be done over here.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. Work smarter, not harder.
Yes. Well, we're almost done here. I have a quick speed round.
Okay.
You ready? A few quick questions.
Go for it.
Your favorite dish to make right now versus everyone's favorite dish they insist you make. You know, you have your friends and they're like, oh, make the crab cakes. Crab cakes are amazing.
Yeah.
But what's that dish that you like to make right now?
Mine actually is, it's a Thai coconut curry duck.
You know, I've never had duck before.
No.
I've never had duck
before. Had it
yesterday.
Yeah, it's pan-seared duck breast with a reduced coconut curry sauce.
Okay.
Red or green, steamed rice and some vegetables. It's just, duck is a fattier meat, but it's gamier.
Okay.
It's obviously more costly than chicken. But it's really good.
Okay.
That's what yeah.
Hopefully you have a pop-up one of these days.
I'm working on it. People have been asking me when I'm going to do another one so they can have the experience.
Yeah. What's a long-term goal that might be scary to say out loud because it's wild, grand, or crazy? Granted, you're doing some crazy stuff, so I don't know. But what's that one that you're like, I don't want to say it out loud because it might come true?
Well, you know what? I'm shifting my mind from the fear that could be around the next big goal, which is a brick and mortar.
Okay.
It takes a lot to execute it, but it's moving past to welcoming it and speaking into existence. So trying to shift it from the fear base to owning. And not having the control of all the different pieces that it takes. Because that can be, as a Virgo, that can be very just, you want it to look a certain way, but releasing some of that and a brick and mortar. And eventually I want it to be chained, and I want another one because I want to retire early. But I had to put things in place for that to happen. So that's the scary dream that I'm working and moving into more shortly than latter.
It's happening. It
Yes.
already happened.
I'm claiming it.
It's there.
There we go.
What's the biggest misconception in your line of work?
That everyone is a chef. That's no shade, but that chef title gets thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean you have to go to school, but the time you put into it, the details,
Yeah.
you know, you can do years of working through it and up the ranks, but the title is used too loosely.
Yeah.
Chef is someone who's in control, guides, train, and steered like a captain of a ship.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of sailors out there, and there's a
Okay.
difference between a captain and a sailor.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. And those people would be considered cooks.
Cooks, yes.
You're a cook.
And there's nothing wrong with
And
being a cook.
and that's not, again, there's no shade. I totally get
Yeah,
you, but
that's-
it's not a chef.
Correct.
Got it. What's a guilty pleasure meal for you?
Well, it would be wine, but you can't eat that.
It's grapes.
Ice cream.
Okay.
I'm not a big desserts person.
Okay.
But I keep a pint of ice cream in the freezer. That's mine. And
I-
I'll go through it in 2 to 3 weeks, a little bit at
okay,
a time.
okay.
But that's probably my guilty one. Yeah.
That's funny. I do So Delicious dairy-free ice cream, and I go through it in 2 days.
Oh well.
What establishment do you feel is extremely underrated, or just a gem that you feel like hasn't gotten enough light?
I would say, well, it's a chef in particular. He actually has gotten a lot of recognition. Actually,
Okay.
his restaurant has this
Shout out though.
Twisted Soul Kitchen.
Oh yeah.
So you know Robert.
Oh, yeah.
He's gotten his own, but I want more people to go and try it because his take on the way he does soul food with his training
Yeah.
is really good. And I think people should go try it. A lot of people do already, but if you haven't, go try his food out. He does a great take on
Twisted Soul.
Twisted Soul Kitchen. Yeah.
That's off of Huff Road.
Yes.
Yeah.
In West Midtown.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of those. I say he's a hidden gem to some people, but shine a light on him.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think its location makes it a hidden gem.
Correct, 'cause
That's
you can
really
drive-
it because
yeah.
they've been at Atlanta Food and Wine Festival.
Yeah.
They've been around for a while
Yeah.
now. Yeah. Best wings in the city. If they're yours, that you can say that too.
That's not my specialty, but I do love the different flavors. I can't think of a name of it. It's Korean fried chicken wings. But I can't remember the name of the restaurant off the top of my head. But they do their version in different flavors. But I'm sorry, the name of it has slipped to me.
I like a good Asian wing.
Yeah, same.
Asian fusion wing. Favorite cocktail to make at home right now?
Vodka gimlet.
With fresh lime juice.
There you go.
Okay, we're gonna do, what is it called? Shout outs.
Okay.
Any shout outs? You just shouted out Twisted Soul Kitchen.
Yeah.
But any other shout outs, people you want to recognize?
Obviously, we call each other like our partner in crime, Chef Jason. We do
Okay.
we do a lot of work together. He's working on a brunch series at Sauce in Buckhead.
Okay.
With barbecue and brunch. So that's his
Okay.
niche. So it's a good technique and a good flavors that he's mixed the two together. So if
Okay.
you're in the Buckhead area, Sundays, check him out.
Sundays.
Sundays.
What's the name of the restaurant again?
Sauce.
Sauce. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's about all I got as far as chefs that I know that I want to shout out. That's off the top of my head.
Yeah. Of course, there's plenty. Thank you so
you.
much
I
for
appreciate
being
you
here
having me.
today. This
Thank you.
conversation was awesome
Yes, it was.
and enlightening, and I hope everyone enjoys it. Please make sure you check out Chef Mark's cookbook and his olive oil line.
Yes.
Your social media, where can they find you?
At Chef Southern Temp for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or X now. And my website is southerntemptation.com. And you can, all of it's linked to it there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in.
Yes.
This is Spirit and Soul Podcast. You can find us on YouTube if you're watching. That's where you are. We're also on Apple and Spotify. Our Instagram is Spirit and Soul Podcast. Thank you for tuning in and have a great, beautiful rest of your day.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.